Let's talk about, well, how an awful lot of pubs and restaurants and hotels and bars and nightclubs are falling silent as they close their doors simply because they simply can't afford to stay open anymore. And the latest tax rate by the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has done even more damage. Let's talk to Kate Nicholls OBE, who's Chief Executive of UKHospitality. Good morning to you, Kate.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. Now, look, you and I spoke so many times during lockdowns, people just absolutely tearing their hair out over trying to keep their businesses open. They get back to work, and then because we have a massive economic crisis of energy bills going up and goodness knows what, people are just getting back on their knees. And then, of course, we had the budget hit. What exactly happened in the budget that hit your members so hard?
Well, I think that context that you've just described is really important because these are businesses that were closed for the best part of 2 years and they still haven't recovered on their balance sheets, their profitability, viability. They are vulnerable. And then, of course, in the budget, we had a triple whammy: national insurance rate increase and the threshold change, bringing in far more workers than would normally be the case. About 2/3 of our workforce now brought into tax and seeing tax increases of 75%. National minimum wage and at a halving of business rate support. And that triple whammy adds a collective bill of £3.4 billion that the sector has to find next year.
And in a sector which is on its knees already. And I know so many people who run restaurants and pubs and bars who basically, they used up any savings they had during lockdown periods. Everything was gone, trying to look after their staff. And as you say, also, having worked in hospitality myself, we're looking at, this is a low wage industry. A lot of young people getting their first jobs. And, I waitress, did bar work. And, a lot of young people do that. And suddenly these tax changes, they are a big percentage off the bottom line, aren't they?
Absolutely. And as you say, these are businesses that are struggling and are struggling to recover. A third of them are operating at or below break even. So there's no profits to take the hit out of. This is going to impact on prices to all of us and inflation and particularly jobs. And as you say, those are jobs, particularly less than 20 hours a week. Those are the people that we're talking about that are caught by this tax raid for the first time. It's young people, it's students, it's working mums, it's those returning from work. Those job hours, 85% of our businesses say they're going to have to cut jobs and headcount. 95% of them say they're going to freeze investment, and 95% of them say they're going to increase prices. So we're all losers as a result of this.
And that's it. And look, I want young people to be getting more. I want the minimum wage to go up to a wage people can actually live on. That is absolutely vital. But again, we are looking at actually the impact on jobs in the future, because again, businesses often operate on such tiny margins. Even if they are making a profit, they can't do this. There is this idea, I think, from among a lot of Labour politicians in particular, that sort of business bad, bosses bad, they're nasty, evil people sort of sitting there counting their money in their palaces, in their castles, as opposed to just ordinary people who just started out and maybe employed a couple of other people and running a business and trying to look after people and treating their staff in lots of cases like family. And it's a complete abject lack of understanding of how a lot of small businesses operate.
Absolutely, and hospitality uniquely is an industry of small businesses, entrepreneurs, people who are starting up, investing in their high streets and community, giving a lot of value added back. And people are at the heart of our industry as well. A vending machine can give you a product. Only a person can give you great service. So we invest in them, but in order to pay them good wages, in order to invest in training and minimum wage, we have to be able to make a profit, to be able to support the job. And if there's no job, then there isn't a minimum wage or a salary, and it's the welfare state that's picking up the slack.
What a
so
surprise.
It's very short-sighted.
And exactly, also, my God, we learned during lockdown how much we prize having those community hubs, whether it's a cafe or a pub or a restaurant, and people desperate. I remember having my husband having his first pint sitting outside in a pub, back in that July in 2020, and just, oh, thank God we're out and with other people, and how important that is. And it's so important for our lives. But we've already seen nightclubs absolutely devastated, so much less choice, and of course that means often prices have to go up as well for young people. And I'd much rather my young people were out in a nightclub than they were sitting at home on their phones. Much healthier for them, much healthier for all of us in terms of their futures. It's such an important part of our economy. It's such an important part of our, I suppose, our social life, our community life, such an important part for an awful lot of people's, frankly, mental health, to not be sitting at home. Why do you think it's a sector that's just not valued by politicians?
I think it's taken...
Oh, we've lost you, Kate. Where are you? Kate, hello. I think we've lost her. Kate, can you hear us? No, I think she's frozen. Oh, darn, we'll go back to... I'll go for it. Why do you think a lot of, chancellors and politicians generally don't seem to care about this industry?
I don't know.
Have they never worked as a barmaid?
Well, or if they have, it's probably been for friends' mysteries. But that's part of the problem. We've got career politicians who haven't actually gone out and done these sorts of jobs.
And run a business.
They haven't run businesses, so they don't understand.
Yeah.
They just see a big capital...
yes, because you've got money, we'll have that. Yeah. Kate, I think we've got you back. Yeah, I was asking you, why don't they care about hospitality?
Well, I think hospitality can be taken for granted. It's the everyday economy. It's on our high streets. It's just where we pop in to go for a coffee, to provide the meals. It's the backdrop for our daily lives, as you were explaining. And I think it just gets taken for granted and overlooked. And also because it's an industry of small businesses, people forget that it's a very large business collectively. £140 billion industry, bigger than aerospace, automotive and pharmaceuticals. But it's just there in the backdrop.
Yeah. It's also... And we've discussed it many times. It's also a crucial part of our appeal to international tourists to come and enjoy. Again, we wouldn't have theatres and a lot of our arts world and funded if we didn't have those foreign tourists to help pay for it. And of course, they expect to go for a nice meal and go for a drink, and it's all part of the economy. Again, people get very obsessed with, say, a car works or a steel works closing down. There are other significant factors there. But, if it's a large number of jobs in one place, suddenly everyone cares. But these jobs are spread out across every town, city, village and, hamlet across the country. And therefore, people don't seem to care so much. But as you know, and I know, absolutely vital. I really appreciate you joining us. You've been a fantastic advocate for your industry, for UK hospitality. That's Kate Nicholls. Thank you for that. Philip, again, supermarkets also saying they're going to have to put prices up. And this is the thing. We've been saying this, the national insurance rise for employers, it's a tax on jobs.
Yes.
And if you put a tax on jobs, you end up having fewer jobs.
Well, Rachel Reeves said that herself when she was in opposition.
Yes.
So, what's changed? She's
the
now
Tories
in
were
government.
looking at the same thing.
Exactly. So she's criticised the Tory government for considering it, and then they didn't bring it in. So she now brings it in. And it's clear with all of the tax on businesses, the issues there are with farmers and elsewhere, that the core business that is gluing our country together is being attacked.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I do think there's a really big issue with a lot of Labour politicians, that they simply do not have a background in business. Not saying you have to be a millionaire. In fact, I'd rather it was somebody who'd, run a corner shop, run a small business, that would understand just how tight those margins are. And most people simply are not making that sort of money. And again, this idea that sort of business is bad, they're evil, they're nasty. No, they're the people providing the job, providing the wealth that we share out.